Good morning. We'll get started as soon as Dave gives me the sign.
Okay.
Thanks. Excellent. Thanks. All right. Today is a convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, and the offices are open. The floods have receded. The walls are restored, and people are having muffins together. So congrats, Todd, on that. We're holding this meeting virtually. However, I am away from you. And so I'll take a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
And good morning, Commissioner Maynard.
Good morning.
Okay. And we have an agenda setting meeting today, public meeting 153. And we'll turn to you, Commissioner Maynard, for the minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have a set of minutes. I move that the Commission approve the minutes from the September 13th, 2023 agenda setting meeting that is included in the Commissioner's packet, subject to any necessary corrections for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
Second.
Any edits, comments? All set? Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard.
Aye.
And I vote yes, 5-0. Okay, and we're going to turn right to our agenda planning. Everybody saw we've got our calendar set up. Thank you, Grace. And right now our meeting in Springfield is scheduled for still November 2nd. Okay. And I think Grace, you wanted me also to note that PPC has invited us down to Plainridge for a cashless wagering demo, and that is being scheduled for October 24th, which is prior to the horse racing finals. I do think, Todd, we have a real question there, though, whether or not it's appropriate for the commissioners to go as a group of 5 for that presentation. It is not a training, as I understand it, and there will be staff there, unless it were marked up as a public meeting of some sort. And whether it could go into executive session is another thing. Otherwise, I don't know if we could do 2x2s.
Well, Madam Chair, I'm happy to jump in on that. I actually, with a number of our staff, saw the presentation, pardon me, yesterday, and spoke to them about the presentation to the commissioners. And it's my understanding that there's no sensitive information at issue. So if the commission is so inclined, it can schedule just a regular public meeting. And in all likelihood, we can find space at the facility for an open public meeting, if that's the preference.
Right, commissioners, you understand the dilemma. If it's a presentation, we'd be looking, and as Commissioner Hill, you noted, we are likely to want to ask questions, so there would be, in essence, deliberation. So it need to be marked up as a public hearing. And I think would be my preference for the 5 of us to be in the same room at the same time, right? Commissioners, your thoughts?
Yes.
I'm good with
Thanks.
that.
Commissioner O'Brien, Commissioner Skinner?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so if they're amenable to that, great. And I assume that it's best to do it in person in that way rather than virtual. So, because the alternative would be us sitting in front of our computers down there because we'd be going to the horse racing. So.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to see it in person, for sure.
Okay, great. All right, excellent. Then perfect. So, Grace?
Yep, I'll work it out with Burke.
All right, so that's scheduled for the 24th. All right, October 2nd. Todd, is there a particular administrative update you're going to give?
Nothing specific at the moment, but I will be prepared to do that.
Okay. And then we have a couple sets of minutes. Commissioner Maynard and Judy.
Yes, we will have some minutes ready for that meeting, I believe.
Okay. And then legislative update, Commissioner Hill and Grace.
I'd like to keep it on there. I'm not sure we'll have anything, but I'd like
Okay.
to keep it on.
All
please.
righty. Okay, and then I think if I remember correctly, Caitlin, no to sports regs?
No,
They'd
we
be on the
do.
19th?
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
we'll
on the
be-
second, we don't. Yep, you're correct. Sorry, my head was a meeting ahead. You're right.
And any other regs for the
Not on the
second?
second.
Not on even regular regs, okay.
Yeah.
Then moving right to sports wagering.
Yes, we'll be bringing back the DraftKings signage issue that was spoken about at the last meeting that you extended
Right.
to October 2nd.
And it's for 3 waivers still, all 3
Yes.
removed. So Caitlin and I had a chance to speak, and commissioners, I'm not sure if you're in agreement with me, but I've asked if there was any way that legal could somehow memorialize what we understood to be a legal opinion that really was the premise for our discussion. Caitlin presented it orally, if you recall correctly, on the application of the reg and describing the umbrella logo and how that would apply versus as you go further down into logo land. So we didn't have anything in writing, and I was concerned that because I could not articulate it. That was my personal feeling. I couldn't articulate the rationale, and so I thought I need some more guidance. So I wondered about that for preparation for the October 2nd.
So we are happy
Commissioner?
to memorialize that.
Okay, commissioners, did you have any questions or anything for Caitlin on that?
No, but I think for the most part, it's really implementation questionings, not so much legal questionings for what's on for 10-2. So for what it's worth, that was where my head was.
Well, I think Commissioner O'Brien, that's a really fair observation because I did think it was sort of a legal and implementation kind of combined in a way. If I remember correctly, we were hearing from legal that certain logos were sports wagering in nature and others weren't. And I wasn't sure how they got to that conclusion.
So for what it's worth, I thought that 4 of us had already moved on from that, and that the only remaining question in that regard was the signage on the restaurant that faced into the stadium at Gillette. But otherwise, they're really coming back on 10-2 to talk about implementation. So that's much narrower, I think, than what you were thinking of. That's what you presented is way broader than what I was expecting on 10-2.
Well, I guess I'm saying it's hard for me to think about the implementation without understanding the legal analysis behind it. But
So when I say implementation, I mean, how long is it going to take you to put 21 plus on it? So to me, that's a very distinct question than what you're talking about. With the one exception of the one in Gillette that faces into the stadium, but is apparently attached to a restaurant that I wanted to see more specific pictures on.
Yeah, and I suppose you're right because we're looking at just the 3 waivers in front of us where the issue around the Encore sign came up during the course of that meeting. And that's where I got confused. That's where I got confused.
But that's a completely separate issue. That's a 23K discussion too. That's not this.
Well, to the extent that it can be memorialized, I think that's probably important because these issues are could come up in the future. I right now would not be able to articulate the legal opinion that was the backing for, because DraftKings came to us with the 3 the issues. So you're saying that those issues were resolved by our vote.
The only one that we asked for more information on factually was the sign that was attached to the restaurant wall, but facing into the stadium, and whether that was distinct from the name of the restaurant. And so what I was looking for, and this is me, was simply, they did not come in with any information about timing, cost, and mechanics of actually implementing the 21 plus. And so that's what I was looking for, is how much time are we really going to need and why?
I don't think we voted on the substantive questions. We just gave the extent of the waiver on all three. That's my recollection.
I can speak to this a little bit though, and I said it in the public meeting, so I can repeat it here. I'm just, I'm kind of exhausted about relitigating the facts of, this analysis. I really want to see, and I look at what BetMGM did with adding it under their logo. I just kind of want to see it get done, and I wanted to see how long it was going to take. Information about, how long does it, what's the contract period look like? When do you actually repaint these things? When do you actually buy new? That's kind of what I was interested in, and thought we had moved on to that piece. But, and I thought that Caitlin did a fantastic job explaining her rationale on the record in that public meeting.
Well, certainly not implying that she didn't do an excellent job. I just am having a hard time articulating it. So thank you for that, Commissioner Maynard. Commissioner Skinner, are you all set?
It hurts to have Caitlin. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Now I can.
I don't think it would hurt to have Caitlin memorialize the legal opinion that she gave at the last meeting. But I too was under the impression that the majority of us, I can't remember if we took a vote on anything, but we had agreed that essentially come October 3rd, if this commission doesn't extend that waiver, then DraftKings would be out of compliance.
I agree with that. I think we took a vote on extending the waiver to October 2nd. Yeah, that I think all three of those were to extend it. And I'm just thinking that October 2nd, some questions could come up again because they're going to be coming back. I hear Commissioner O'Brien saying they're only coming back with information on the third one, but I thought they were coming back with information with respect to the second one, maybe, because of timing issues, given that it was involving a venue not under their control. But here's Crystal.
I just was going to say that what we've asked for and what I had come from that meeting with was that you wanted information on all three as to timing, impacts to the venue, and as Commissioner O'Brien said, some more information about what that sign is, what the logo differentiation was, and just a lot more detail. So you'll be getting information about all three.
Right. And my only reason why I asked for, and I mentioned this to Caitlin in asking if we could meet today, was should this issue come up again, we would have a memorialized opinion. So Caitlin, I know you've agreed to do that, and I appreciate it, but there's no objection to her memorializing. I hear Commissioner Skinner saying it's okay. All right.
I don't have an objection to it. I just want to make sure that DraftKings also understands that this is a very narrow question on 10-2. This is not a relitigating of whether or not it needs to comply.
Yeah, and to that end, Commissioner O'Brien, I mean, if we don't hear plans and dates to comply, I'm inclined to, to deal with that at the time. But I want to hear about how they can comply with getting 21 plus under the logo. That's what I want to hear.
Commissioner Hill, are you all set? All right, thanks. So that will be just some additional information that Caitlin will produce for us. So thank you. Moving on, is there anything else, Director Band, Crystal, Andrew, if he's there?
No, we're at this point, we have nothing else for October 2nd.
Okay. Okay, and then item number 6. This is another one. We've been looking for some clarity.
Good
Hi,
morning,
Heather.
Chair. Thank you. Yes, we will have representatives from Penn to provide a deck with respect to the updates on the deal between Penn and ESPN. I also wanted to make sure that we have on the agenda the IEB report regarding the PSI Barstool branding relationship. So just wanted to make sure that that's on there as well. We will have Enforcement Counsel Zach Mercer will be able to present on that.
Grace, do you need a clarifier on that, or are you all set?
Heather, I'll follow up with you in an email right now just to get some language for the agenda for both of those items, if that's okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Grace.
Okay. I know that we have a report in from IEB on I believe on a director. Is that slated for this meeting, Heather, as well?
Yes, that was my understanding, that the commission wanted to look at that matter as well on the October 2nd meeting.
So that would be 3 items then from that's separate and apart from what you just said, correct?
Yeah, well, I think it's the 2. It's the, the branding relationship, the report on the branding relationship with Barstool, and then the second issue would be the updates regarding the deal between Penn and ESPN.
The deal itself. Oh, and that's where that report comes in. I see the difference. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a little bit more clarity.
that's okay. Heather?
Heather.
Sure. Commissioner, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Well, so could you clarify what we're anticipating to take up on Monday with respect to IEB items?
Yes, absolutely. So we are going to have representatives from Penn who are going to be presenting a deck with respect to the deal between Penn and ESPN. And there will be opportunities for the commissioners to ask questions, and then we can talk about next steps on that particular piece. The IEB has also submitted a report with respect to the branding relationship between PSI and Barstool. And the Barstool College Football Show, and that was in connection with the commission's previous conditions that were put on both the PPC Cat 1 temporary license for sports wagering and the PSI Cat 3 temporary sports wagering license.
Yep. And then do we also have the suitability report on that qualifier? As well?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. There's not a suitability report with respect to PSI or PPC.
No, but it's what we got the report, I think just a couple nights ago from.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. That actually would be an adjudicatory hearing, and we will certainly work with legal and the parties. We are looking to probably put that under review.
Oh, okay.
So that's that would be a separate matter. And that's an EBH qualifier. Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Skinner. That helps me. That's what I was struggling with in terms of the distinction. Yeah. Thank you.
I do, however, have one other item, Chair. And it doesn't have
a second though.
Yeah, well, it could be. It's up to you all. It could be for the second, or it could be for October 19th.
Let's get through the second, and then I'll turn to you. Okay, just a sec.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Otherwise, our meeting may grow. All right. We're going to have about Heather is our interim right now, and just as a clarifier, I wanted to follow up too. In our last meeting, we want to make sure that Dave Muldrew has followed up with. I don't know if Dave is there. Has followed up with Heather on our item. So Todd, maybe no. I think I actually have to turn to Derek to follow up on that if it hasn't happened already. On number 7, permanent IEB director hiring process. That would be a executive session, I believe, or no, that would be public. Commissioners, we can get some input from A&K on that. We'll be all set to move forward on that. Then we have some racing matters. Dr. Lightbound, good morning.
Good morning. Yep, we'll be ready with 4 requests from Plain Ridge for different, 3 of them are reimbursements for items the commission had previously approved, and then one's asking for some additional capital improvement money for their paddock renovations.
Okay,
And Chad will be available to present those on Monday.
Grace, are you getting a sense as to the length of this meeting yet? If you need anybody's estimated time, you can ask for that.
Yeah, I believe the PPC requests are pretty quick, Alex, from what we talked about when they were originally scheduled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should be pretty quick.
Yeah,
So
I
this-
guess Heather, if you have a sense of how long that discussion would be, that's probably the only.
Yeah, I don't actually, but I can certainly follow up with you on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and then I think this is a relatively routine, but always important discussion on the LCMAC.
Yeah,
Do I
we should
see
be all,
three? There you are, Joe.
yeah, we should be all set with that. We'll have a memo for you. If you haven't received it already, it'll be out today.
How many do we have?
That's a very good question. I think, is Mary on? Mary. Thought
I think
saw-
I saw Mary this morning.
There
Hi,
she
Mary.
is. Mary, how many do we have? Up, you're muted.
Looks like 6.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And you all received the memo yesterday. I believe it's, yeah, 1, 2.
Okay, so we have all their bios and everything. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. All right, and you'll be all set for that. Derek, have you had a chance to breathe?
I have.
Good.
I have. I've had a
Will
chance
you-
to breathe. We will be ready for the item on the agenda. I think Grace already has the memo. And if anyone has any questions, we're available for 2x2s. We'll be meeting with Commissioner Hill today to review all the information and as his role as the treasurer.
And as treasurer, great.
And
Okay,
Derek, do you need a vote on that?
No, there is no vote needed because the year's over and we're just sticking to our regulations.
okay. How much time do you think for that, Derek?
Probably 15 to 20 minutes for the memo because there's a lot of graphs in there and charts, and then maybe 10 minutes for discussion. It's pretty straightforward. It's not like in previous years where we had to make corrections or have overpayments and underpayments that had to be reconciled. It was pretty much straightforward this year. So half an hour max.
Okay. And then we revisiting your matter, Mark, on the research agenda.
Right.
Thanks,
So-
Derek.
Yeah, we can move this forward. One of the projects that I'm proposing that we would add to the research agenda is an opportunity to partner with Carleton University and funding through the International Center for Responsible Gaming. And it would be a pilot project with one of our casinos to explore a hard versus a soft stop on Play My Way. And this was, so we're still trying to identify a casino partner on this. And it's there's a technology piece of it that needs to be worked out in addition to buy-in. I don't think we will have difficulty with either one of those. And so I am comfortable moving this forward with the understanding that, one, the commission agrees with the hard stop versus soft stop. And 2, that there's a little bit of limbo on identifying who we will partner with for this study in the pilot project. I did send out to all commissioners about a week week and a half ago, information and background on how the commission came to decide on the soft stop versus hard stop for Play My Way. So we, bottom line, and sorry to be so long-winded, absolutely comfortable moving this forward with those caveats in place.
Well, if you would prefer to wait, it's up to you, Mark. It's up to you. Which would be best? Which would best serve you and your division?
I would like to go ahead and move it forward. And as in my recommendation would be that for this one specific project, that it's contingent upon identifying a technology solution and casino partner. But I think that it would mean a lot to have that part of the research agenda and the backing of the commission to advance this this specific study. So yes.
Yes. Okay. All right, we're in agreement. Okay, now back to Heather. I think it's gonna be certainly into the afternoon meeting, and that's okay. Heather, what else do you have?
Sure, we could actually do this on either October 2nd or October 19th or another date, I think. But the EBH has a beverage license amendment request, so we just wanted to get it on the list.
Yeah. We can comment. That's pretty straightforward usually, and with Kara's good and her division's good work. Okay. Anything else for the team on October 2nd? All right. Moving on then to October 19th. Todd, do you think you'll have a particular administrative update?
I will be prepared to present an update that day. Sure, absolutely. Nothing specific comes to mind, but
yeah. And to the extent that you have something, it's always good to, give that to Grace in advance, and we can provide a bullet to describe it for the agenda purposes. But commissioners, it's also an opportunity for you to ask Todd if you want anything for him to address, any particular division work. Okay. Minutes, Commissioner Maynard?
Yeah, but we're continuing to put out a bevy of minutes to clear up any back minutes. So I would expect to have some that day.
Okay. And then we'll keep legislative update on, Commissioner Hill, just in case.
Just in case.
And then we have the sports regs.
Yes, and sorry, my camera's off. I'm fighting with my new setup here for a minute, but we will definitely have 219 and 231 coming back for a final vote. We're aiming to have 205 CMR 258, which is a sports wager operator secession reg, coming back on that day. And instead of 205 CMR 15, which is procedures for approval of a simulcast only, we are aiming to have the regulations related to sports wagering applications for you that day, and those will take a little bit of time. So I can talk with Grace about timing, but basically replacing 205 CMR 15 with the reg about racing applications.
Any questions? Okay. We'll be all set for that. Sports wagering. What do you think, Bruce?
You're on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Director Band.
All right, I pushed that space bar and it did nothing. I'm sure we will have something with health rules or something like that by then, so I'd like to leave it on for that.
Yep. Okay. And then I'm looking at Derek. We had the, oh, you know what? I misread the last, I I misread the last one. It was fiscal year 23 closeout. I had the 24 budget. Okay, and you'll be all set for that.
We will be.
And that you will need a vote for.
We will need a vote for that because there are a few items coming forward that we'll want to discuss, and that will be a longer discussion probably.
Yeah. Thank you. And Derek, thank you for, to all the team. I'm going to hear from Heather after this meeting, but all the team, that including Katrina and her team and your team and all of the IEB folks who have been busy supporting and working with MGM Springfield. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a fun learning experience throughout this process.
Well, we're lucky that we had all the makings of a good village to do that work. So thank you.
Agreed.
All right. So the next meeting is then the November 2nd one, which we are expecting. Oh, so sorry. I meant to go back. 19th, Joe?
Yeah, we need to have the draft guidelines on for the 19th. So we'll need a vote on that just to put it out for public comment. Because we have the public hearing on that scheduled for the following week. So we will need to review that on the 19th and vote to have that go out to public comment.
Okay. We'll be all set for that. That was an excellent discussion the other day, Joe. Well done.
And Madam Chair, if I could propose an agenda item as well.
Yes, absolutely.
It's time for our GameSense quarterly report. And I think if we could slide it in on October 19th, that would be great, covering up through the end of September and responsible gaming education month.
Are you then you'll do your the update on the month? Is that what you just said?
Correct. Yep. It'll include
excellent.
include responsible gaming education month.
Yeah, great. We haven't seen Long, so he'll be hopefully presenting.
Yes.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Anything else for that meeting? Okay. Now we turn to Springfield, and Grace is going to work out at Mass Mutual.
Yep. Mills and I have been working with Mass Mutual on scheduling that meeting there. And I know we're also working with Joe and his team on a potential visit for after that meeting as well out in Springfield.
Okay. And right now, other than our update minutes, legislative update and regs and sports wagering, the only item we have are the quarterly reports.
Yep, those should be set to go. I'll make sure to give them a reminder that when we need the materials.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'm not so sure we would need a legislative update on that particular meeting.
And Madam Chair, I'd just like to put a placeholder on that meeting for Community Mitigation Fund. My thought is, we go out, we're going to have a public hearing the week before. And if there were any substantive matters that we wanted to discuss, of things that may have come out of that public hearing, that this would be sort of the next opportunity to do that. So I'd just like to put a placeholder. We may not need it, but I'd like to have that in there just in case we do.
And so the public hearing will be on the guidelines.
Yes.
Okay, that we
and the guidelines and the distribution formula, essentially, I mean, which will be part of the guidelines. But I think obviously that's going to be of paramount interest, I think, to our communities.
So when it comes before guidelines come before us, they will be in draft form only, and then we'll vote on them subsequent to the public hearing.
Yeah, no, typically what we do is you'll review the draft on the 19th and then vote to put them out for public comment.
Yeah.
Then we will take, obviously, written public comment and then and oral public comment at the hearing. And the thought is if anything substantial really comes up at that public hearing that the commission needs to address, we could do that on the 2nd before we finalize the guidelines.
Commissioners, are we comfortable having that as a virtual public hearing? Because it is statewide,
Yeah.
region by region, okay?
And these
I
are
see.
mostly, oh, sorry, these are mostly communities that are going to be participating. So, they're already working there. I mean, this is going to be just a daytime meeting for those folks.
Yeah. So, Grace, did you put down for the time for that?
Yep, so that is currently scheduled for Thursday, October 26th at 12 p.m. And there is a hold, Trudy, added to your calendars yesterday for that.
So right during lunch hours. Is that
Right
okay?
during lunch hour for everybody, yep.
Yeah, commissioners, you're okay with that? I think that gets probably to the communities the best, right, Joe? That hour. Okay. All right. Under review.
Madam Chair,
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mark.
it seems like this may be there's an opportunity at this meeting. We have developed a summary of the FY23 research agenda, including sort of overarching key findings and recommendations. This is something new. We haven't done this before, but I think it's a really interesting look, just taking all of the research deliverables or reports that were submitted in FY23, kind of boiling it down to key findings and recommendations, and we would love to share that. If not at November 2nd, perhaps the meeting after that.
Seems like we could do it on the 2nd. If it's good in person.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, anything else for November 2nd? All right, then we'll go to under review. I'm assuming iLove is still under review.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Compliance committee still under review. Okay. HCA compliance. Commissioner Skinner?
Yeah, that's still under review.
Okay, Commissioner, all right. The 90-day audit under review. I know we just
Yeah, just approved the one.
certified. Bruce. Is it, what triggers the 90-day, the beginning of it, the audit?
Yes, that now at the last meeting, we approved the last audit team, so we're putting the report together right now.
Okay, great, thank you. Then we have economic impacts report, which I know is going to be interesting, but I can't remember what Dr. Andrews thought, Mark, for timing. Still keep it under review?
Yeah, keep that under review. I think there may be a couple of reports that fall under that heading, but let me check with her. She is up.
Okay. All righty. The vet restriction.
Andrew's working on that and should have that done within the next week or two.
Okay, then we can figure out which meeting.
Yep.
Commissioners, you have any questions so far? Okay. So that's Andrew. We have the diversity audit, Commissioner Skinner, that you're working on. I know with Chief Muldrew and others.
Yes, we had talked last time about including this in Executive Director Grossman's administrative report, and I'm not sure if he's prepared to do that with the rest of the team this upcoming Monday.
Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. I think we can be prepared to do that. Let me talk to Dave Muldrow and as well as Beniswa and make sure we're ready to go.
Okay. And then Commissioner Maynard and Commissioner Skinner, you've been working with Kara. We should include Kara's name, probably Grace on that's my oversight. My apologies to Chief O'Brien, but on the licensing management system RFI. Commissioners, when would the timing be on that? Is it an update, I guess?
Yeah, we got comments back. I'll let Commissioner Skinner speak for herself, but I know we got some comments back to Kara on the actual request for information. I don't know if it's went out or not. I think it has.
Oh, okay. There's
Sure.
some,
I could fill in
yeah,
on.
either, yeah, go right ahead, Heather.
I know that it has been submitted to Derek and John Scully, so I don't know if it's been put up for posting, but it is certainly moving.
Commissioner Skinner, Commissioner Maynard, only because I don't think Kara's here, though Heather can weigh in. Do you want to give an update to the commissioners about it, or is it that inappropriate or inappropriate? Commissioner Skinner?
Yeah, I'd prefer to have Kara weigh in at this point. I don't have anything to add to what Commissioner Maynard reported, but I do think it's essential to get Kara included in this discussion. So let's keep it on under review.
Here she
for now.
comes.
Oh,
She's
there she
here.
is.
Hi, Kara. Good morning.
Good morning. I think we've jumped the gun just a tiny bit. The RFI is scheduled to be posted shortly. And so we would be having an official update on the public meeting, but we are continuing to move on that.
Okay, so we'll keep it under review, and then you'll just coordinate with the two commissioners and we'll get it on for an update. I think it will be good, for the public to be aware of this good work, Kara, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, item number 9. We had a meeting on this the other day, Dr. Lightbound.
Yes, I spoke to the HBPA and the Jockey Guild and asked them to please submit us some more information that might make it give the commissioners more information to work with.
Yeah, Todd, you were in that meeting. Just to get a little bit more clarity, that would be helpful. And then we'll circle back. Okay. Mission statement. Good work underway. Commissioner O'Brien, Commissioner Maynard.
Yeah, we have another meeting tomorrow afternoon. Try to see if we can get it tightened up enough to bring back.
Great. Okay, and item number 11. This is our sort of the housekeeping and more perhaps, Todd and Commissioner Hill, Grace, Mills.
Still under review.
Okay, is there a timing issue? I turn to Commissioner Hill.
Not a timing issue. We're trying to identify a couple of letters that were sent in the past, and we're just trying to find out what was in them and where they might be. So we're digging a little bit.
I'm happy to also contribute to that because some of them, historically, I'm pretty familiar with that. So maybe, Brad, we can just have a little bit of a strategy session. I think it might make sense. We could include everything, but if it means we're not going to get anything out, maybe we prioritize for now and jot down on a list all the items and elaborate on a few priorities. Maybe Todd, at one of your senior staff meetings, I might make a suggestion that you ask them if, what would their priorities be, and then you can figure out what you'd recommend for the commission as to maybe 3 or something, some magical number to put in one letter. Commissioner Hill, something like that, right?
We had that very same conversation recently, and we have started a list that is quite large, and we're gonna whittle it down.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Because I'm just thinking of timing. If we want to get some.
We talked about that yesterday as well.
Yeah, and you're the one who knows that better than I do, certainly. All right, and then we've got the exciting internship program. Commissioner Maynard, Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, I can talk about this one. Reached out to Trudy, who's joining us, and we picked up a couple of other friends along the way. I think Katrina and Mark are interested in helping, and we're going to get a meeting on the books. And I would imagine by the time we have another agenda setting meeting, we will have already met.
I do know that Chief Muldrew mentioned that he was interested in participating, or did he decide that it's okay?
He's already on your list, so I just, that was a given, I thought.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. No problem. I just wanted to make sure. I thought, in case he was listening. Okay. Anything else for under review?
Madam Chair, we have posted right now an RFI for player risk identification and response that closes on October 20th, and we could put under review kind of a summary of responses and proposed next steps with that. That would be great.
So we need to add that for under review right now.
Correct.
I'm sorry, did we miss that? Okay.
No, it hasn't been. It's adding it under review. So.
Yeah. Thank you. You got that okay, Grace?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Another under review. Okay, just catching up on the chat. I guess one item that I thought we should add to our agenda, and perhaps I don't know if October 2nd is too early, but commissioners, one, we might want to have an update, and I'll turn to Heather for this. An executive session would be anticipated on the cybersecurity issue at MGM. And I think we also have another operator that we need to have an update from on a cybersecurity issue. And that would be an executive session, I understand.
We could do that, Chair. Like, did you say October 2nd?
What do you think? That would be next Thursday. I think we probably want to hear. Commissioners, what are you thinking? Todd, thank you.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, we're anticipating a report being filed by Caesars, which is the second one you're referring to. It may be helpful to receive that first and then talk about it, if that makes sense. But
what is their timing?
I think it's shortly. I'd have to circle back. It's being prepared. So if you're inclined to hear from them on Monday, I can reach out to them certainly. But I think that we should be hearing from them soon, more officially.
October 2nd is Monday, isn't it?
Yes.
I've been saying next Thursday. Sorry, my apologies. Commissioners, Commissioner Skinner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Todd did offer to reach out to Caesars to get a better understanding of what their timing is. I'd like for him to do that, given that I think at our last meeting, we heard the same update, which was over a week ago. So I am anxious anyway to understand what happened there. But at the very least, I think getting an update in executive session on the MGM cybersecurity issue is appropriate for Monday's meeting.
Thank you. And I agree with you, Commissioner Skinner. If they're doing a written report, I respect that, but I also think we could get a report from our team on the Caesars matter as well. We haven't had any update on that. Todd?
Oh, sure. I could certainly give you an update on Monday if that'd be helpful.
I think that makes sense. I think we should, if you have information, it probably makes sense for you to share it at that juncture.
Okay.
And then we can have another meeting as necessary for their report, although commissioners, I don't know if we want to ask them to have that report ready by Monday. And I just feel at this point we should have more information. Commissioner O'Brien, I see you, she's nodding her head. And I think, yeah, because I think you also raised it earlier too. Commissioner Skinner, what do you think? The written report or at least the oral update?
Yeah, at least an oral update. I think we're all in the dark as to exactly what happened, what the root cause of the matter was. And then, it'd be helpful if they can't have the written report on Monday. It'd be helpful to understand, what exactly this report is. Is it a report that's being created just for the commission? What process are they under right now that requires such a report? It's just, there's not a lot of information right now is the point here.
I can speak to that just briefly, but of course we can do this on Monday too. So we actually do have a process in our sports wagering regulations that talks about this. And requires the submission of a report. So even though those regs have been put on hold until November, I believe, because they're part of the data privacy regs, I've asked that they follow that process and prepare a report as described in the regulations, which is what they are planning on doing. So that's what the report itself would look like. I would also just note that they have filed an 8K with the SEC, identifying some of the high-level basics as to what happened. And I think the report is likely to reflect a lot of that information.
Hi, did I freeze or did Todd freeze? It's me.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, Commissioner O'Brien, why don't you continue until I unfreeze, because I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, no, Todd didn't freeze on my end, so Todd was still talking.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was me and I couldn't hear him. Do you mind repeating?
Not at all. Not at all. Happy to do so. So I was just noting that I'm not sure where maybe I froze on you, but that we actually do have regulations in the sports wagering regulations in the data privacy section that talks about this exact situation and filing a report. And while those regs have been put on hold until November, I did ask them to follow the process that we've laid out there. So there is a process that will be followed. And secondly, I was just pointing out that they have filed an 8K with the SEC identifying the situation. And it doesn't get into tremendous detail for sure as to exactly what happened, but that information is out in the public anyway. But nonetheless, I'm happy to meet an executive session to discuss this particular situation.
I think the commissioners are looking for that, just like we did with our other operator, right? Okay. All right. So that will be on October 2nd. Anything else, commissioners, that you'd like to add to either any of our meetings that are scheduled or scheduled for the future? Carrie, do you have something in mind? I wondered for regulations. Let's see, you're tuned in. Do you have any regs that you need to bring forward that are on your list?
No, I don't have anything to add today. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Anything else, commissioners? Okay. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your day. I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Yep. Move to adjourn.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Second.
Okay. Any objections, edits, comments? Okay, Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard,
Aye.
and I vote yes. Thanks, everyone.